You got to spin it to win it, and Sri Lanka nearly did, but India flexing their muscle, which means the streak has been snapped. 13, lucky for some, unlucky for some. Unfortunately for Sri Lanka, it is the latter. And Kuldeep Yadav, and I'm falling in love with you all over again, my friend, because you have literally done yourself a world of good before the World Cup. 150 wickets to you as well, and wrapping up proceedings in style. You guys are watching the match review on cricket.com. My name's Avni Shaikli. We have Nikhil Popar and Gurkirat, and it was a one-day international, which actually I liked. Gurkirat, did you like that?
It's always good to see contest between the bat and ball. Uh, if you see one discipline completely dominating over the other with absolutely nothing for the other discipline, it doesn't really make for good viewing. And another thing that I've always felt is that the pace of the pitch is always important, especially if there's no help. Now, you could say the pitch was on the slower side, but it still offered a contest between the bat and ball, and that is why it made for good viewing. Uh, In fact, one of the reasons why ODI cricket has made for good viewing in Sri Lanka, not only this Asia Cup or this series, but even if you look at the previous matches that have happened in the last 1.5 years, they've had a contest between the bat and ball.
Yeah.
There is rarely a 330, 340 game versus 320 game. It's always these middling ODIs where there is something in the middle overs. The ball swings for around 10-15 overs. So always good to have ODIs in Sri Lanka.
Next, do you echo those thoughts? Great advertisement for the game, but India showing why they're such a good side if they play to their potential, and they're getting the job done. So, all well.
Yeah, we discussed about having that depth and taking those boxes. I think India have taken another couple of boxes very well today. In terms of, not to forget, they came back because of the good tight spell from Hardik. He was there thereabouts, never giving them anything to play with. And there are concerns which we'll talk about in going forward in this discussion. But I think he brought India back with a continuous spell of dot balls. I think India had a period where I don't think India were consistent. Even with Jadeja when he began, you felt that okay, he's too quick or not getting the lines. He changed ends, and then suddenly things started to happen. And I'm sure people checked out a tweet from cricket.com which told you the most false shots created was by Jadeja, more than 40%. The next best was not even more than 30. So it just tells you when they get it right. I kept harping about the right pace in the mid innings break because you saw the difference between Axar's figures and Jadeja's figures. Jadeja found the length and pace. Axar did not.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Gurkirat was making that point that he wanted to see Akshar bowl in the 8th and 9th over. Akshar only came on to bowl, I think, post the 25th. But look, we'll get to Gurkirat and Nick's and their thoughts in just a bit. But a shout out to all you guys watching us right now. Brilliant to know that you guys are joining on this post match win. And that's the stat that Nikhil was mentioning, 42.8% then 7 overs compared to Kuldeep Yadav, who was also very, very good. Now, of course, like always, on any cricket.com live, we love interacting with you. So good hello, welcome to Mr. Anand, Ankar Bishwas as well. Say more than the win, the energy, commitment, and bond among the players is what amazed me, and literally being echoed right across the room. Sajay Papigiri, good to see you as well. And you're gonna say Kuldeep against Rajta Patirana was way too much. Well, against inexperience, beg your pardon, cost Sri Lanka in that over. And Chris Nunez, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Long live ODIs. Not to forget the Pacers also took wickets. Guys, obviously, lots of people are typing in Wellalage, Wellalage, Wellalage. Talk to me about the boy because 5-4 we spoke about him in the mid innings, but with the bat as well. Did you get scared, Nikhil Popar, if you're an Indian fan? Or you were like, no,
You,
you won't bring it as well?
maybe I've seen too much of him, and maybe I wasn't scared. I was happy for him. Uh, the Wellalage, these are the guys who, when you've seen them do well before, you feel they have it what it takes to belong at the international level. That six that he hit to Kuldeep, that was scary. I'll say that was very good to see. So you are like caught in two minds. As a watcher, you're like, oh wow, that's a great shot. But then it also just tells you what kind of potential you have there. And again, DDA is a guy. Somesh is our jinx expert or whatever you want to call it. The name he takes, the guy performs in the next game. So I need to talk to him before I make my next fantasy team. But I think his wicket was a result of Hardik's dots, but then you still didn't see Wellalage hit a shot in anger. And that's what I think just sets you and tells you a lot about the temperament of the guy. And we've seen that in the under 19 World Cup, but there you're competing with similar level of players. Here it's a step above. And even there, if you're not phased too much by the occasion and you looked in control pretty much right through, it just tells you there is a bright future there.
But is there a lack of common sense, Gurkirat? Because you look at what he made that mistake upon, and surely, why is Rajita keeping strike?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was something that could have been avoided, but I'm reading comments that he shouldn't really have taken a single. I'm not. I don't really want to be harsh on the kid. I think he would have thought that maybe they'll be able to play out Kuldeep and he'll farm the strike against Pacers. And Nikhil was talking about DDS's wicket. Uh, you would expect more from a senior batter because Wellalage had got the boundary on the first ball of the over. So I
Exactly.
mean, the run rate was under control. There wasn't really a need to play that shot. Could have really avoided it. But yeah, I mean, India would be really happy with the two games that have happened. Last game versus Pakistan was a perfect game. This wasn't a perfect game, and in the mid innings we were talking about how this is a score that they could defend, but they wouldn't really have a cushion of having a bad spell anywhere in between, and that really didn't come except for you could say that this was a good partnership between DDS and Wellalage, but it wasn't really down to poor bowling. It was just down to good application and good batting by the both batters. So yeah, the only worry for India would have been Akshar's figures and how Akshar bowled. But apart from that, pretty much all the boxes ticked from the bowling point of view too.
You mentioned Akshars over there. Lots of people are having their opinions heard in the comments, and that's good to see as always. Like this video, Ankar Bishwas saying Akshar's bowling has clearly gone down a bit. It was his 26 that was like God. Sanjay Papigiri going to say Akshar conundrum is something that India needs to seriously look at. He can score those valuable runs on turning tracks, but his lack of wickets is becoming a concern in the last few games. And Jaydeep Gajera on that point as well. He said Jadu's batting, Akshar's bowling with back to traditional Indian depth. Hope they click too. Nix, what did you make of Akshar Patel? I mean, I know you hinted upon it, but what do we expect as Indian cricket fans of someone like Akshar Patel? Because I don't think he's going to start, but I'm guessing if he does start over Shardul or sometimes if Jadeja, dare I say, gets injured, what are we expecting him to do? Bowl 10 overs and give us 30, 40 runs?
Yeah, pretty much. And see, both are comparatively different in terms of how they go about things.
Yeah.
Batting bit we have already discussed in detail about how one prefers space to other preference spin. The thing that's gone down with Akshar is when he didn't have a good day, you still felt he would be economical.
Hmm.
Now that hasn't been the case very often, and it's also when you look at Jadeja, he was still beating the bat enough. He got two to beat spin from the middle and beat DDS's broad, but that wasn't quite happening with Aksar. Maybe it's also I don't think he's been used well in the recent times, so maybe there is that confidence that is lacking in terms of game rhythm also because he hasn't played enough games and got long spells. So I don't know if there is enough time to get those spells in because, as you said, most likely it will be Shardul who starts. So, if India are to give him games, maybe the next game is a good chance against Bangladesh. They to give him that chance, and you see consistency in that sense that okay, he's getting his round arm, he's getting the ball to grip or turn because definitely there was far more on help. There was far more to offer, but you didn't see Aksar exploit that as much. So I think there is room there with the bat. Of course, he can be promoted higher up the order, which is not the case with Jadeja. At this point in time, India ideally want one of Jadeja and Aksar to have their peak together in terms of either one of the two all-rounders needs to click with bat and ball both. As of now, one is clicking with the bat, then the other clicks with the ball. So it is good that they were able to come out of the game because of Hardik's spell. But I think you still need to give Aksar a few more games, as Vikas also says, just to get into that rhythm. I don't think he's in that rhythm. I'll actually want to hear what Paji says because he's been talking a lot about how Delhi haven't used Aksar, but it's not just Delhi. I think any captain hasn't used Aksar well.
How to use him well, Gurkirat? Because at the end of the day, we have to kind of give roles to certain individuals. What is Akshar's role, and what do you expect it to be if you were Rohit Sharma / Rahul Dravid?
Yeah, so we've discussed the batting bit. I think think what happens in the bowling bit is that when you have someone like Jadeja, you just feel that if you want to go to a left arm spinner, you'd rather go to the better left arm spinner, and there's always that temptation. And I think that is something which has really hurt Akshar's rhythm in the way that he's not got enough spells. And sometimes what happens is that you get into this cycle. You're not getting longer spells because in the shorter spells that you're getting to bowl, you're not bowling well enough. Now he bowled 5 overs today, and we spoke about Jadeja's fall shot percentage, which was created, which was 42%. We have numbers which say that Akshar's fall shot percentage was 15%, and let's not forget that India were also defending a low total. So it becomes really difficult for the captain to then balance. Like, do you look out for the team's goal, which is obviously to win the game, or do you try and get Akshar into the game, who's really not been as effective? So it's a very it's a very difficult puzzle to solve right now. What do you do? Because partly what Nikhil said has also is right, because even when he's been on tours, he's not played enough games. He did not get bowling in that game versus West Indies. Then he wasn't a part of that Ireland T20s as well. So he's not bowled enough. So it's and like I said, when you are a standby player, that extra pressure makes you do funny things. So I don't
But
know
then
if
is
it.
it related to Akshay being round arm that he didn't look threatening on the surface because he didn't look at his best in BGT either? And since says Pranav Anand, how much do you buy that belief?
I'm not sure it has got a lot to do with being round armish, because at times you felt that even even Wellalage was going a little round armish. He was varying it a bit. He was sometimes coming close to the pitch and sometimes wide of the crease. So if you're going to come wide of the crease, you will have to be round armish. Even Asalanka on a few occasions was becoming round armish. I just think it's a issue of form or rhythm, whatever it is. Really can't say with 100% certainty what it is exactly. Probably the player himself can explain this, or the bowling coach, but something's not clicking in terms of his bowling. We really can't say if it is because he's not getting enough bowling, or is it the other way around? He's not getting enough bowling because he's not bowling well. It's a circle. Very
Stop
difficult.
defending Akshar is what Tuchan's saying. If
I,
team is not bowling Akshar, there's a reason they might have seen his ineffectiveness in the nets.
if he's ineffective in the nets, then
Then
we
why
might as
play
well
him?
or not select him in the squad. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
like I said, the same reason you can use for his criticism and for his defense.
Mm.
It's very difficult to pinpoint it. This is not a defense or anything. It's just I'm trying to explain what the
Makes sense.
problem
Yeah.
is. It's the chicken and egg story.
Okay.
You don't know कि पहले क्या हो रहा है.
Next, you mentioned another Gujarati all-rounder in terms of Hardik Pandya, and lots of
All
people
three
are,
all-rounders are Gujarati.
of course, and
Yeah.
Nix,
All
of
three.
course, and Nix as well. Pranav Anand going on to say hugely impressive with Pandya today with ball. I don't know if he was his wobble seam, but Wellalage wasn't as comfortable versus him. It wasn't sure if he was going to leave him or move away. And then there was another comment. I think Nikhil Baiju going on to say Hardik brought us back in the game. His tight
Yes.
lines and hard lens, his goal dust. But sometimes I think to myself when I watch Hardik Pandya bowl, dude, it's before the World Cup. Please don't go down with a niggle or a back strain or anything like that, because he gives it his all. He's not going to be like, the only time I think he's half-hearted is when he's chasing a ball in the field. But
Yeah.
apart from that, with the bat and with the ball, I mean, it's so crucial that he is injury free, right, Nix?
Yeah, and you know there is one person India missed today, which is the Lord. Because when there's a partnership happening, he's the first guy that they turn to. But apparently, he only takes wickets versus weaker sides or whoever, so you don't play him. But it just tells you there are days when you see, uh, this role is something that Hardik hasn't often done, and which is why it was great to see him do that, because the instructions where the plan was very clear, that you do not move away from that line and you stay there. You don't try anything else. There is no fancy bounce or Yorker stuff. Just stay length, good length, and you will get, because there was help. I was surprised, and I'll be very honest, I was surprised by the lack of usage of Siraj, because he only
Hmm.
bowled 5 overs in this game. I kept expecting that now Siraj will come back, now Siraj will come back, but they did not go to him. And Hardik, to add to your point, Hardik did look like he was huffing and puffing a bit at times, And but I think India at that time they wanted to take the overs out of Axar. So I think that's what they felt, that that's what it was planned, that you get Axar's remaining 5 overs out first, and then as it is with most captains, you leave the last 8 9 overs only for your premier spinners. So I think that was the plan. But today Hardik did his job, and that's what I expect of him to combine with Jadeja. And the day he has a great day, you give him the extra overs, but his workload will always have to be managed.
And I like the fact that he was actually chirping the young Wellalage. I know
And
it's not appreciated,
no,
but
just to add to that, if you notice, there were a lot of moments when Hardik chirped, but Valalagi was not interested. He would
exactly.
just walk away, and that just tells you even more how smart and how experienced that guy is. And I'm not hyping him up, but just telling you what's there out for all of us to see.
Oh, 100%. And it was so refreshing to see. I mean, three certain things that you see in life is the singer sponsors in the Sri Lankan cricket stadium. Sri Lankan batter batting with a KG bat. Good old Rasulan, good old Upul Chandana and all those guys. And now Wellalage has brought that bat back. And of course, just the drums and the aisles. More fantasy stats, more cricket stats on the cricket.com platform over there. Another thing which came to the fore, Gurkirat, is KL Rahul and his wicket keeping. I asked Somesh this yesterday, and today again, like Pranav Anand saying here, passing seemingly crucial tips to the spinners, in most part keeping well. Again, another tick in the, I mean, another positive box ticked.
Yeah, it's something we were discussing yesterday. He'll continue to improve as a keeper, and I really feel what helps him is that he's able to pick spin from the hand while he's batting, so that helps his keeping. And he's also someone who can play late, which again helps because sometimes you have to make late adjustments while collecting the ball as a keeper, which I feel goes true for a lot of good slip fielders as well. You take your mind back to good slip fielders, they would be those batters who play the ball late. Jayawardene, Ajinkya Rahane, Inzamam Ulhaq, Mark Waugh, all these players are able to play the ball late. So I think all those things also help, being able to pick spin from the hand well. And I said it earlier as well that KL keeping, as long as his body can take it, should not be a huge concern because he's not someone who's going to miss 3 or 4 chances every game. On a bad day, he'll probably miss two. And sometimes people just go too much into that one drop catch he had, but that happens with each and every player and cricketer. Just another thing that I wanted to add, I was reading a lot of comments about bits and pieces all rounders, or the true all rounder, etc., etc. See, I feel it's very difficult to have complete all rounders who will contribute equally in both disciplines. All rounders are there. All rounders will also have one favorable discipline. They are all rounders because they can contribute something in the secondary discipline. They have something to add. But if you expect a all rounder to average 40 with the bat and average less than 30 with the ball, with a strike rate of under 30 with the ball and a strike rate of 95 plus with the bat, you'd rather make these cricketers in the labs, because you will not find such cricketers in actual life, and it's an unreal expectation. So all rounders by default will always be bits and pieces, or someone who has a lot more bits in one department and just a few pieces in other. So people need to have this expectation clear of all rounders. They All rounders are there because they can contribute in both departments. They are not a complete batter and not a complete bowler. You'll very rarely find that combination, and even if you do, it will not last long enough. It will probably for a maximum peak of 2 years in a player's career.
Okay, super. By the way, that little thing that you just come up on the screen, Wellalage is the man of the match. So well
Good
done. Even though
choice.
they kind of give it in a losing cause, it's always kind of good to see that. Also, good to see other comments which are showing love. I don't know who you are, but honestly, wherever you are, you make my heart race. So, Hangi, so
This is
thank you.
see,
It's
this is
brilliant.
this is either one of your friends or this is someone in cricket.com's office. I am sure.
I don't know who's
This
playing the
is
prank.
as planted as that front foot when you see a half volley. As planted as that.
I wish it was. I really wish it was. By the way, Rajesh Human saying don't compare Ben Stokes to the other all rounder, which is Hardik Pandya, I think he was saying. And Ankar Vishwas has a contrary belief. All criticizing Akshar, it was his 26 that was crucial finally. I mean, that's true. I know we kind of just shed a little bit of light in it at the mid innings, but how important was that ninth wicket stand? Just psychologically getting India over 200, because then Sri Lanka could have actually played that smarter, right, Nix?
And that's why when they say, okay, if top seven batters can't do anything, what will the batter at number eight do? This is what he
Exactly.
will do. So this is why it's important to have right people in the right conditions at the right spot. We
Yeah.
still talked about him having coming lower down the order. Had he come higher up the order, he could have probably helped you add those 20-30 extra runs more. But
Hmm.
अभी के लिए जो मिल रहा है उसको ले लेते हैं. And see, his quality versus spin is never in doubt, and it is something that we've seen far too often, and hence the query that why is he not promoted enough. So I don't think India had too many options, but yeah, could have sent over Jadeja. But I think next game is very crucial, because this almost it guarantees them to the spot to the final. They should try and play Axar instead of Jadeja if they want to, because there are enough lefties as well from Bangladesh for him to take care of, and you really don't want to get into that matchup so much that you forget backing your best players. So uh, hopefully we see that happening.
Okay, Cricket, more comments to come through right now in this review. By the way, like and subscribe if you guys and you like this video. Please just take 2 seconds out. It doesn't really do you harm, right? Does it? It does us a world of good. So just please, if you're watching, just like this channel, and we'll keep taking your comments. We're looking forward right now to that part of the review, because India have got 2 out of 2 in the Super Fours. And is India qualified to the final? Do you see few players resting for the next game? They're virtually through, and I think it'll come down to that Thursday game between Sri Lanka and Pakistan to see who meets them. I don't think they'll. It's a potential banana
Like
skin
India
against
are through.
Bangladesh.
India are through.
India through for sure. But answer Kanan B's questions, Gurkira. Given now we're safe to reach the final, should we now give a debut to Tilak in the next game and try him two with the ball for 5 to 6 overs?
No, it doesn't serve a purpose. He's not in the World Cup squad. He can
But
try
then,
out this in
but then
Asian
Nikhil
Games.
Baiju, but Nikhil Baiju said yes. Team should try out Verma.
Nikhil Baiju is entitled to his opinion. If India really want to try out a batter, and if they really want to experiment a few things, they'd rather give game to Shreyas Iyer and Surya Kumar Yadav, because these are the players in your World Cup squad. Or you could look to rest Siraj and play Shami. Why would you want to now waste a game on someone who's not in your squad? I mean, waste may not be the right word, but it's not the optimal usage of the number of matches you have. You have players who want game time. Tilak Verma is not in your squad, and again, okay, let's just say he has a great game. He scores 100 and he even picks up wickets. He picks up 5 wickets. What then? It creates far more noise. You start discussing, oh, we have missed out on having a left-handed batter who can bat in the middle order and can also bowl. Oh, मतलब जो चीज अब वो चेंज नहीं होने वाली है. I mean, it doesn't help. वो it's not in your scheme of things. Why do you want to complicate things? It doesn't really help. Tilak Verma is young. He will get his chances in due course of time. There's no need to rush it right now.
Okay. Archit Ariman, good to see you. He's asked Nix this question. There's one player called Shubhang Hegde from Karnataka. Nix might be having some ideas. Just remembered his name while watching young Wellalage.
Yes, he's won me a few games. So maybe we'll definitely talk about him in detail with Akshay maybe on one Monday Night Live, where if you want to talk about a few young players to look out for in the upcoming season. So yeah, that could be very very handy thing to talk about.
For sure. It's a Tuesday night, and it's very good to see 41 of you all join us in this moment in time. So brilliant from our end to see you guys. But he reverberates in the comments. This man, he's not letting you go tonight, Paji. Paji, my point is, if Akshar fails, should we at least try Varma so that we can see if he's worth it, Bhai?
Do we realize the worth of a player on the basis of one game? That is the question that we need to answer.
And
If we are
Apparently.
and that too less than 1 month away from a World Cup. You have to respect your own planning. That's the bottom line. You have to respect your own process.
that's what I'm saying. You play Tilak Verma, he has the perfect game. He scores 100. He takes a fiver. Then what is
Yeah.
the next thing do you do? Do
I
you do
mean,
you play him ahead of
now
any?
knowing how form obsessed they are, this Indian cricket team, they might just do that. Because, like,
No,
even Karan going on to say, who should replace Iyer in the squad if he gets ruled out? Would you go with a lefty or would you go with someone who is a great choice, but apparently the team management doesn't see fit?
See, if they don't select Samson, even then there's something really wrong in their relationships with Samson or
They
whatever.
should
I don't
give
know.
up. Samson should give up or shift to
And
another
Samson
country.
should announce his retirement
Uh,
and
No,
say
I
that
but
mean,
I am
Gurkirat, I
going
think
to move to
it was one of
US.
your shows where you said the relationship between BCCI and Avesh Khan are like
Yeah,
exes. So, what is the
yeah.
relationship between BCCI and Sanju Samson then?
X and
In
Y.
case
This relationship is how do I explain it?
what Pati
Uh,
Patni or wo?
नहीं
नहीं,
किधर-
वो तो अरे वो में तो चांस तो मिलता है. This is this relationship is like leading on the other. You're just leading on, but you're not materializing into anything. You get Samson around the fringes of the squad, give him the hopes, and then end with. I don't think it's working out without even trying. So it's like leading on someone and then not materializing it into. लोगों को लगेगा पता नहीं क्या कैसे experiences रहे हैं इस आदमी के, but Avnish, you will never.
No, man, that bloody movie, Pati Patni or wo. Why the hell would I would think of anything
No,
else?
there's also Pyar Ka Panchnama too, if people
That is
get the
true.
reference.
Okay, so we have 2 minutes to wrap up, gents. Just want to throw it forward to that game on Friday, which we'll talk more about on Friday, 2:25. Of course, join us at cricket.com. Knicks, any changes? If yes, why? If no, why?
to rest one of Siraj and Bumrah because both of them didn't complete their quota. Could have done at least with Siraj, maybe not quota, but at least 7 8 overs. So if you want to do that, do that. You can play Shami there, and I'll actually not mind resting Jadeja and play Axar in place of him. If at all they want to do it, they could pretty much go with just one change, or they could even go unchanged if they want to.
Okay. What about someone like Prasid Krishna? Would you usher him in?
Doesn't help. See, the point is there is no point raising unnecessary questions at the wrong point of time. You don't gain anything out of it. So you just the point is then we'll again talk about the core player not playing together. So you just back the team that's going to start in the World Cup, give them enough experience. Games like this, you are able to tick certain boxes. So please let's stick to the core and then let's see unless there is a niggle or something brewing, then you rest people and then if you want to give Prasid a game with Shami, do that. But there has to be a sound logic or concern or something for you to take care of.
Okay.
I I want
Gurkirat,
to see Shreyas.
would you be amazed if Kishan gets dropped and Surya comes back in and Shreyas is still sidelined with a back spasm?
No, that is not happening.
Yeah.
That is not happening. If Shreyas gets fit, I want to see him in the
Yeah.
11
Yeah.
because KL has kept wickets in the last 2 games, so it's not
And
that.
in back-to-back games, it's very
Yeah,
very crucial in these conditions in back-to-back games.
yeah. So if I really want to see Shreyas in, and it's going. India might have qualified for the finals, but it's going to be a good test because Bangladesh spinners are also a handful.
Yeah.
They can do well, and if Shreyas is not fit, and say Kishan plays, and Kishan has a similar innings that he had today, uh, then India would be really pressed in terms of having Shreyas back as soon as possible
Yeah.
because that strike rotation issue with Ishan Kishan is a real issue. It's something that can in big chases or in grounds or in conditions where you need to set a certain total, it can also lead to wickets at the other end if
Mm.
he's unable to get out of the blocks. So yeah, I mean, if Shreyas is fit, I'd really like to see him in the 11. Other changes, they can do it, they can not do it. That's not really a big deal. Could look to give Shami game time because he's in the scheme of things for the World Cup. Could look to give, I don't know, Akshar a full game and rest Jadeja. But even there are arguments against it because you want Jadeja to get some runs under his belt. If he's going to be a designated number 7 in all games, you want him to get some runs under his belt and get that confidence, and that hasn't happened so far.
Mm.
Okay, super. I love always kind of throwing you guys some trivia, and I'll ask this to you guys in the comments below before we sign off. Rohit Sharma still undefeated as a captain in Asia Cup ODIs. I want to know who the other person is on that list who has 6 out of 6 wins as an ODI skipper. Who is it? I know Nick's and Gurkirat know it because it's in the private chat, but I'm guessing a lot of people would be watching this and be like, "Who is it? Who is it?" Uh,
You could give people hints.
Uh,
okay, that his son plays in the CPL is too easy.
Yeah, that makes it easy.
That makes it too easy. I mean,
That
if you
makes it.
guys know, you know. That's something for you guys to think about on a Tuesday.
He's
Don't worry
also
about it.
the his son is also a decent enough singer. I've
I
seen
wow.
thought
his
he was.
videos.
I thought he was the only nepo kid Pakistan had, but then clearly Imam is there, and I forgot about that. So, anyway, we'll move along nicely. If it is Thursday's game, which gets washed out in Colombo, Sri Lanka, courtesy their better net run rate because Pakistan got a handbrake. I think it'll be an India-Sri Lanka final, but everyone will want Pakistan to win that, and then India, of course, beat Bangladesh as well. So, like I said, we'll be there throughout. The Sunday is the final, of course, and we'll be covering that with some esteem. That's all we have in this one. We've exceeded half an hour as ever. We love doing that because we love taking your questions as well. Thank you, Nikhil and Gurkirat, for your time. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Sorry, day after. Tomorrow, there's
Yeah.
plenty of community posting. Get interactive.
Day after,
Uh,
I will not be on preview and review shows.
oh, yeah. Thursday with Gurkirat for sure. 100%.
Mhm.
Boys, it's been yet again a fun one. India win, make it 2 in the trot. And only time will tell if they go on to win another Asia Cup. But we'll, of course, preview all of it on Thursday. We'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching. Goodbye from us.
Cheers. Good day.
Correct.